Okay, our guest speaker is there. Dr. Jafar, can you please try your video and audio? Let's see that they're working well. Yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much.
Not at all.
Okay, so we are streaming live now and the program will start.
اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. My name is Falilat Elubumi Alabi, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to yet another episode of OU Believe, the program of Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, before we go on with the program, before we invite the main speaker and invite our brother for the Quran recitation, I'd like to run through a few announcements for us. The first one is that there will be 4 Eid prayers at Old Kent Road Mosque on Eid Day between 8:30 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. We'll have 8:30, 9:15, 10 a.m. and 10:45. All prayers will be inside the mosque. There is no Eid prayer at Borges Park. Also, please invite your family and friends for this program. Let them join us to enjoy this program. It is the last Monday, and Ramadan is going, as I've said yesterday, it's going, and before you know it, Ramadan will be gone for this year. So please take advantage and enjoy all you need to enjoy this period. And as we are here today to listen to our sister to tell us about how we can continue after Ramadan, how we can continue to do the good things that we've learned and we put in place this period. So now I would like to call on our brother, Al-Amin Adisa, to give us a recitation from the Holy Quran. Bismillah Al-Amin.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Al-Amin Adisa and I'll be reading Surah Al-Jumu'ah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض مالك القدوس العزيز الحكيم هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحق بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفار بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم إنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين قل إن الموت الذين تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عليم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير منها لهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين.
Allahu Akbar. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much for that beautiful recitation. May Allah bless you and accept it as act of ibadah from you. Right, before I hand over to our father, I would like to thank our donors so far, but please still keep the donation coming. We still need the money. We need, it's not only your money, we need the skill. If you can contribute by donating your skill, by helping us in one way or the other. Now we are moving out of this old building to a temporary apartment before we will pull the building down and start the building after Ramadan. So please, you can come and volunteer, help us in any way you can put the place to good use. So please, I'll hand over to our father now. I know he's a better fundraiser than myself, and he knows how to convince people than myself. So I hand over to Professor Mashood Badeni, please. Bismillah.
Thank you so much. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Alaja Fadilat Alabi. Thank you for anchoring us on. Our viewers, both in-house on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm also pleased to welcome you to today's version of O You Who Believe. Alhamdulillah, Ramadan is winding down. By sunset today, Ramadan will be 28. And at most, we have 2 more to go. And please, let's remember that these nights are the best of nights. And we should continue to, fulfill our ibadats in them and continue to pray and ask Allah for His assistance with everything that we do, including the building of the mosque. I'm really pleased, as we do every week, to say that we have with us today a very prestigious speaker who will be discussing our topic today with us. Ramadan is going, but our Iman still remains with us. So our speaker today will be trying to reflect with us how we can keep the spirit of Ramadan going even after the next 2 days when Ramadan is gone. So I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Masuma Jafar. Dr. Jafar is a qualified dental surgeon. She worked briefly before choosing to be a stay-at-home mother. She has a bachelor's and master's degree in Islamic studies, and she spent about a year studying in Qum. Qum is a very beautiful religious city in Iran. taught in the Hausa at Islamic College. She's a qualified chaplain and worked with the women in Holloway Prison and with Hertfordshire Police. She also has a diploma in counseling. Dr. Jafar also has a postgraduate certificate in education. This teacher's qualification enabled her to teach A-level religious studies. She has also authored a few books. She was formerly resident alima of Hujjatul Islam Center in Stanmore for 4 years. We are really pleased to have Dr. Jafar here to share her knowledge with us on how to keep the spirit of Islam going. Dr. Jafar will be speaking for around 40 minutes maximum. The timer will be there. And after that, we hope she'll be able to stay to take questions, inshallah, because we normally do that. Thank you so much for your time, and we pray that Allah puts this in your Mizan al-Khair, and may Allah bless you for sparing your time to share your knowledge with us. Bismillah, Doctor.
Thank you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى عترة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. Inshallah. Can I share my screen? Am I able to do that?
I think you should be able to do that. Control room, can you help? And also please correct the timer, please. And correct the timer, please.
Please, you can share your screen. I'll correct the timer now.
Okay.
It doesn't allow me to. You have to make me a co-host for me to share.
Have you tried?
Please try it now. Please try it now.
No, it doesn't give me the screen. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so my talk today is going to be after the holy month of Ramadan, keeping the spirit alive, and how are we able to do that? How can we do that? And what are we supposed to be doing? So as we know, in my Ramadan, we did a lot of good deeds. Inshallah, Allah accepts them all from us. But it's impossible to maintain that sort of standard after the holy month. There are lots of reasons for this. One is that this holy month, we know in our heads that it is only for a month. So psychologically, we're prepared to put in all the effort for that month. But if we're told to put it in every single day for the whole year, we just don't have that mind space to be able to do that, one. Secondly, the blessings and the barakah of the holy month gave us the ability to be able to do so much more that we wouldn't generally be able to do. Sorry. Okay, so thirdly, Shaitan is locked up in this month, which helps immensely for us to sort of keep our spiritual high and do a lot more ibadah as well. So there's a lot of reasons. And fourthly, finally, whenever you're taken out of your norm, you do a lot more. You'll do lots of different things because this isn't the norm. A lot of the times we get so caught up in the rat race of life that we actually forget about the bigger picture. We forget about the purpose of our life. So there's all these reasons why we've been able to do so much more in my Ramadan. And if I can give you an example, it's like when we go for Umrah or Hajj, you know, we will push ourselves to the limit because we know we've only got this small amount of time to be able to do so much. So if it's every single day for the rest of our lives, it's very difficult to. But what we need to realize is that we have actually gone through a training in this month with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being our personal trainer. He's actually taken us out of our norm, which is, you know, the normal life that we have. And he said to us, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to sort of reconnect to me. I'm going to help you to reconnect to the Holy Quran. I'm going to help you to sort of realize that you are a soul and not a body. And he does this throughout the year, obviously. But in my Ramadan, we are more aware of this help that he provides. And because he's locked up Shaitan as well, it's much more easier for us not to get distracted. So all of the good deeds that we've been reintroduced to, we should have some sort of relationship with every aspect that we've tasted in my Ramadan. Now, the idea is to move our ibadah from what it was pre-my Ramadan to a little bit higher, a healthy dose higher post my Ramadan. Okay, so although it will go down from my Ramadan, so if you imagine if you were here at pre-my Ramadan, you went to up here at Ramadan, then when my Ramadan finishes, you will come down, but it shouldn't come down to this level again. It should come down so it's still higher than it was pre-my Ramadan. So how are we going to do this? And I'm going to go through practically what we can do in order to raise this bar slightly, so that we can maintain and make maintain our connection and make that commitment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. So as I said, pre-my Ramadan, you were at a certain place. My Ramadan, you peaked, and then post my Ramadan, you come down, but we mustn't come down all the way. The goal is not to maintain the same level, but to raise the bar from before my Ramadan, before the month of Ramadan, my means month, sorry, in Farsi, to now after experiencing and growing from this holy month. Okay. So there are certain questions I need to ask myself. What is my salah per day? So obviously, inshallah, we're all doing the wajibat. So we're doing the 5 daily prayers. But in the month of Ramadan, we would hopefully be doing a little bit more. So we will be doing some of the nawafil. We might be doing salatul layl. We might be doing, extra prayers. Just to connect to Allah. Okay. What is my Quran per day? Again, we should, inshallah, all be connecting to the Holy Quran on a daily basis. But in my Ramadan, in the month of Ramadan, I'm sure everyone does. And I know a lot of communities, I know, for instance, my community, we have this emphasis on finishing the Holy Quran in this holy month. So you have the 30 days, so you recite 1 juz a day in order to finish the whole Quran in the holy month. And people find the time to do this. But then I feel like, and I'm going to look at this psychologically in more detail, but I feel like if we've done it as a tick box exercise, where the focus has been completing the Holy Quran. Once we've completed it, then that's it. We put it aside and until next year. And that's not what it's supposed to be about. The holy month of Ramadan is for us to connect to these ibadah, to take it forward. Okay. And not only are we supposed to be looking at what we've been doing, but when we did it. So the idea is to fit our day into it, into these ibadahs, and the schedule into it, make it a routine, not try to sort of fit the ibadah into the day. So for example, salah, okay, we should be fitting our day around the salah, not fitting our salah into our day. Okay, so the salah should be something that I know exactly what time it's at, and I when I plan my day, I'm aware of where I will be at salah time, so that I can actually pray my salah on time without any problems at all. Okay, it needs to be part of my day, and not only what and when, but how was I doing these ibadahs? How much focus did I have? How much concentration did I have? Did I have presence of mind and heart? Okay, so there's all of these things that I'm looking at in a lot more detail to try to see how I can continue it after my Ramadan. Because if I'm aware of how I did it, if I'm aware of what I did, when I did it, how I did it, then I'm more capable of taking it forward. If I haven't thought about it, if I haven't reflected on it, then it's very unlikely that I'll actually take it forward. And it will be just something I did in the month of Ramadan, and then I moved on. Okay. So some practical examples of what I could, some practical examples here. Okay. So let's look at the Fajr Salah, for example. Okay. Now, a lot of people are awake at Fajr because of Sahri. Okay. So they'll wake up just before Fajr, or they'll stay awake till Fajr, depending on, how much, whether you're a night person or not. Okay. And the reason why we're so aware of Fajr in the holy month of Ramadan is because we know we can only eat up to just before Fajr. Now, the emphasis is on the eating, not on the Salah. And that's the sad part. We are so aware that we need to eat so that we then don't go hungry throughout the whole day, because we'll be more hungry if we don't eat. In the same way that I take care of my physical body, I need to make sure I take care of my soul, my spiritual body. Okay, and that's the beauty of the holy month of Ramadan. Allah has tried to make us realize that we are a spiritual being, and try to get us to connect to our spiritual being. If I can give you an example here as a mother, and even if those of you who aren't mothers and those of you who are fathers, I'm sure you can relate to this example. If you have twins, okay, say you have two boys, one is very, very loud, constantly shouting and screaming and demanding things, and one is very, very quiet, and he sort of amuses himself and takes care of himself, you know, doesn't ask for much, doesn't, you know, it just gets on with it. Now lunchtime comes along and the loud one is screaming, I want food, 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 and it's getting louder and louder and louder, okay, and the quiet one's just sitting there waiting for you to feed him. Which one would you generally feed first? Now, I'm not asking which one you should feed, because obviously we should feed the one who's being good, the one who's being quiet. But we're going to feed the one who's loud for our own sanity, because we can't think past him screaming constantly, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And we're going to get a headache. We're going to be really, really exhausted if we don't feed him. We're not going to be able to think. So we go and try to feed the loud child. Now, this loud child is really, really naughty and he's running around, and you're trying to run behind him, trying to feed him, and, trying to be a good mother and trying to get the food into the child's mouth so that he stops screaming. He's hungry, but he doesn't want to sit down and eat, and you're exhausted. By the time you've fed this child, you are absolutely exhausted. And you turn to the quiet one, and he's still playing quite happily, and he's not shouting, and he's not screaming, and he's not crying. And you think, okay, let me take a 5-minute break. Let me take a 10-minute break. And you know that this child is hungry because obviously it's time for lunch, but you're thinking, he's quiet. I just need to have a little bit of rest. So you have a little bit of rest. And then obviously you're not an awful mother. You need to feed this child. So you feed this child eventually, but you're so exhausted from taking care of the loud one that you literally just give the food to the quiet child. And if the quiet child eats by himself, great. If he doesn't, you just feed him a little bit and you'll get on with the rest of the day. Now, this is exactly how we are. If you imagine our physical body as being that loud child, that loud twin, and our spiritual body as being the quiet child or the quiet twin, okay? Constantly throughout the year, our bodies are screaming, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired, I want this, I want that. And because we're connected to our physical body, because we live in the physical realm, all we can hear is this screaming. So we take care of this child, this physical body constantly. And it's so much effort taking care of our physical body that we actually haven't got much energy left to take care of our spiritual body then. And we will do the minimum amount when we have to, because we're Muslims and we're going to do it. So it's not, just like I was a good mother, I'm a good Muslim, so I'm not going to make my salah qaza. I'm going to make sure I pray, but I may not pray on time. I may not pray with that much effort. I may not pray with that much, I will do the minimum amount because I know I have to, okay? Out of his love and mercy, Allah took away the loud child. Just like if I had a friend who said to me, you know what, let me take your loud child away just for a day. I'll take him to the park. I'll take care of him. And you just spend some time with the quiet child. Now, when I'm spending time with the quiet child, I have a lot more energy to take care of the quiet child. I feed the quiet child. I start talking to the quiet child. I realize how much potential this child has, which I've never noticed before. And I actually start enjoying my time with this quiet child. Now, when the loud child comes back, because I've connected to this quiet child, that is the motivation to continue to put more effort into the quiet child and try to ignore the loud child a little bit, even if it is a lot of effort to ignore him a little bit. Yeah. In the same way, Allah takes away our physical body. You can't feed your physical body. You can't give it drinks. You can't do this. You can't do that. So we have no choice but not to listen to it. So we start hearing our spiritual being. We start hearing our soul. We start connecting to our soul. We realize how much potential we have as a soul. We see how much the soul can actually do, how it feels to connect to Allah through the soul. And it's such a beautiful feeling that should be our motivation. So when the holy month of Ramadan finishes and the loud child is brought back, when Allah says, okay, now you can eat and drink as normal whenever you want throughout the day, we don't do it throughout the day. We don't listen to the body as much as we did before. The soul is much, much stronger now. We've connected to the soul. We know the potential that the soul has. So we now want to focus on the soul as much as we focus on the body, if not more. That's the idea. Okay. So we're looking at the soul. Okay. So during the month of Ramadan, we made sure that we woke up at Fajr. Now let's change our mindset to say, okay, you know what? It wasn't about eating, but I was waking up to pray at Fazila time. I was waking up to make sure that I prayed Salah on time. And throughout the day, try to pray your Salah on time. We've only got a few days left, but even those few days with the barakah of this month can have a huge impact on your soul, okay? We hopefully prayed with Adhan and Iqama. When we did some dua afterwards, we did, Sajda Shukr, we did all of these things. So again, think about one thing you can take forward into your life after the holy month of Ramadan. We abstained from halal during this holy month, throughout the whole day. So I know that I have the willpower to abstain from something that God has allowed me throughout the year. So then why do I not have the willpower to abstain from what God has said to keep away from, all the haram food and things like that? We recited a lot more Quran, so maybe a juz a day. So at least we should continue the recitation of the Holy Quran throughout the year. We had a lot less sleep because either, like I said, some of us stayed awake till Fajr, some of us would get up in the middle of the night to have some food and to pray our Salah and to do a little bit of Ibadah. So again, thinking about cutting down on our sleep a little bit and dedicating that time to Allah. Looking at how we're going to do this. So there are 4 phases in of a project. Any project that you do, there are 4 phases to it, okay? Now, we want to make changes, but we get sidelined, okay? So as I said, Allah has helped us in the holy month of Ramadan. Like I talked about the loud and the quiet twin. Also in the holy month of, if you look at it as a ship, the ship travels in the water. But when it needs to be repaired, it has to be taken out of the water. In the same way, we live in this world, we travel in this world, but in order to be fixed, we need to be taken out from the rat race of normal life. And that's what Allah has done out of his love and mercy in this holy month, okay? So let's take this opportunity to actually take this project of the holy month of Ramadan and move it forward, okay? So as I said, there are 4 phases to any project. You've got the inspiration phase, the implementation phase, the value integration phase, and the completion and satisfaction phase, okay? Forget about the big names, that's not important, okay? Just concentrate on what each phase is about, okay? So the inspirational phase and the implementation phase is the purpose of the holy month of Ramadan, okay? And I'm going to go into each one of these in a little bit more detail, okay? I'm going to give you an example here because it'll just make it a little bit easier to understand what these phases are. So if we consider connecting to the Holy Quran, okay? So the first phase is to get inspired to read the Quran, okay? Now, the holy month of Ramadan is a month of the Quran. It was when the Quran was revealed. So there's, everything revolves around the Quran in this holy month, okay? So obviously we will be inspired to read the words of Allah in this month, okay? The implementation is when you actually do the action. So now that I've been inspired, I do it. So again, in the holy month, we're very, very encouraged to recite the Holy Quran. There is a lot of rewards that are given for the recitation of the Quran. You feel a lot more contentment. So we implement it, right? Now it's about taking it forward, okay? The value integration is realizing the effect of the Holy Quran on me, okay? How it helps me to connect to God, how it is the food for the soul, how it makes me feel content within my life, how it just brings about this calmness within me, okay? Contemplating, reflecting on the words of the Holy Book so that I can actually live the verses of the Holy Quran. Remember, the Quran is a book of guidance. It's supposed to guide us. If I'm just reading it parrot fashion, yes, of course, it will have an effect on my soul because these are the words of Allah. They have a lot of value, but it will have much more of an effect if I'm actually taking the guidance from the book and living it, okay? So this actually recognizing the value of implementing the recitation of the Holy Quran in my life is the next phase. Then completion, okay, in where you're trying to sort of make it part of your life. The problem arises in this project is when you get stuck in any one of these phases or when we move on once we've completed. So if we do it like, okay, the project's finished, I've completed the recitation of the Quran, now I can put it aside. The whole idea of the completion phase is not just to complete it, but to make it part of your life. So I may have completed the Holy Quran, but the completion phase is about making it part of my life. So I will continue it throughout the year. What happens when we get stuck? Now, usually we get stuck, especially in the implementation phase. Let's look at the Holy Quran. Let's use the Holy Quran as the example, okay? We have been inspired to recite it in the holy month. We have implemented the recitation of it. Now we get stuck here. Either we will not complete it in this holy month or we will complete it, but we haven't actually seen the value of it. We don't actually get the value of it. Now, we don't see the value of it in our lives as much, or we don't focus on it, we don't reflect on it, and therefore we don't make it part and parcel of our life going forward. Okay. The problem is when we see value in anything, we then need to bring it into our lives, and that means that there is a change that has to come about in our life. Now, as human beings, we don't like change, because change means you have to come out of your comfort zone. Change means that there is something different that's happened now. Okay, most human beings are not comfortable with change, but the problem is growth can only happen when you come out of your comfort zone. So it can only happen when change occurs. Okay, now the formula for change is D times V times Fs, which has to be greater than RC. Okay, I'm a very much a mathematical person, so when I see formulas, it really works for me. If you're not mathematical, that's fine, don't worry. I'm going to go through it. Okay, D is for dissatisfaction with your current state. I need to be dissatisfied with where I am now. Okay, so I need to be dissatisfied with my relationship with the Holy Quran before my Ramadan. Okay, V is the vision of the desired future. So I need to visualize, I need to imagine what it would be like if I was totally connected to the Holy Quran, if I was living the Holy Quran, if it was part and parcel of my life. Then Fs is the first steps that I will take, the first positive steps that I will take to achieve this vision that I imagine. Okay, and the RC is the resistance to change. When this dissatisfaction and the vision and the first steps all together are greater than the resistance to change, then change will happen. Okay, but if they're not greater, then change will not happen. So let me look at how questions which will help me to implement change. Okay, first of all, what do I want? Where am I and where do I want to be? So again, let's concentrate on the Holy Quran. What do I want? I want to live the Holy Quran. I want to be able to, and it can be different things. Some people might want to hifz the Holy Quran. Some people might want to ponder over the word. Whatever it is, think about what you want when it comes to the Holy Quran. I want to be able to live the Holy Quran. I want to be able to quote the verses of the Holy Quran when I'm talking. I want to be able to use them in my life and in my children's life and in my grandchildren's life. I want to be able to sort of, when I'm giving advice, to actually quote from the Holy Quran. Okay, where am I at the moment? Nowhere near that. Okay, that's where I want to be, but that's not where I am. Okay, what happens if I don't get it? Okay, now this is where the dissatisfaction comes. If I'm not able to get there, how will I feel? And again, it's looking at those feelings and using those to motivate me. I'm going to be saddened if I die without really connecting to the Holy Quran. What have I achieved? This is the only real physical thing that we have, which is a direct connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are His words. I need to, if I have any love, if I truly believe in Allah, if I love Allah, then why would I not want to connect to His words? There is so much miracle in the Holy Quran. It's, recognizing all of that will make me realize how much I'm missing out on if I don't do this. What does it look like if I get it? I will be an amazing wife, an amazing mother, an amazing grandmother, amazing daughter, amazing sister, amazing friend, amazing Muslim, because I will be living these words of the Holy Quran. I will have amazing relationships in my life. I will be successful in my life because I will have connected to the words of Allah, and that will be my focus. That will be my drive. That will be what makes me make decisions in my life. So what do I need to do to get to this? What are the first steps? I need to make sure that on a daily basis, I'm connecting to the Holy Quran. Now, remember, I'm using this as an example on my own personal life. Okay, you might use a different example and it may have different answers. Okay, how would I know if I've got it? I know if I've got it, if I've changed in the way that I behave, in my connection to Allah, in my contentment level, how I feel spiritually, and whether I am actually living the words of Allah, how connected I am to the Holy Quran. How does this link to all my other goals? My other goals can be short-term, can be long-term, can be they can be, I need to see how it links. So if it's my relationships, it will link to my relationships because it will make me a better person in all those relationships. If I'm looking at my ibadah, it will make my ibadah better, my salah better, because I'll know what I'm reciting when I'm reciting the Holy Quran in the salah. It will help my soul. It will bring contentment, which is what we're all looking for in our lives. So there's a lot of things that I can be thinking about. Okay, So what is it that I want? Okay, now let's move on to, let's use another example here. Let's look at the broader example of taqwa, because the whole idea of fasting is in order to get taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you are able to, hopefully, maybe, inshallah, if you do it correctly, if you fast correctly, you will gain taqwa. It's not okay, I'm going to fast, I'm going to get taqwa. It has to be, there's levels of taqwa, and dependent on my sincerity of my fast and how present I am in the fast and how well I do it, and whether I fasted with my whole body and my whole spirituality, that whether I get taqwa or not. Okay, so how do I get taqwa? What can I be looking at? I can looking at my wajibat, making sure that I am doing my wajibat, and if I'm doing all of them, if I've reflected on all the wajibat and I'm doing them all, then maybe how can I better them? So for example, if I'm praying the 5 salah in the day, then how can I better it? Maybe I can take a minute or so just to calm my mind before I start the salah. Maybe I start with adhan and iqama. Maybe I finish with a sajda shukr, whatever it is. Think about how I can better it. If I'm not doing the 5 salah, then the first thing is to actually make sure that I'm doing it. Okay, looking at the haram, making sure that I'm not doing anything haram. Okay, and if I'm not doing anything haram, then looking at maybe those sort of things which are borderline, which maybe I'm not sure if it's haram or not, so why would I want to take that chance? Okay, looking at my akhlaq. Okay, here I'm trying to improve myself as a human being, because our relationship with others is important. We serve the creator through serving the creation. So I need to make sure that I take on a positive trait. Okay, so I need to think about some positive trait that I can bring into my character, into my moral character, and a negative trait that I might have, which I want to remove. Okay, and obviously the Holy Quran, I need to constantly be focusing on that and having more of that in my life. I need to state my goal in a positive manner and to make it a SMART goal. SMART is where it's very specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, or what resources you need, and it's time bound. Okay, so let's look at this in how do I get the first steps. Okay, is my goal self-initiated or self-maintained? In other words, is it within my control? Am I relying on others to get my desired outcome? Am I relying on my husband, my parents, my children? Am I relying on others to help motivate me? Am I relying on others to do it with me? If so, then there is more likelihood for failure, because I can't control others. I have enough problems controlling myself. Okay, so I need to make sure that I am focused on myself and actually accountable to my own self. Okay, what actions will I take? So what are the first steps? Actually write down the first positive steps that I'm going to take, and make sure that they're small steps. Okay, if you at this moment in this holy month, we're on a spiritual high, so we may think of, okay, you know what, I'm going to recite a juz a week, or it may not be possible. Okay, so think about, okay, you know what, when it comes to the Holy Quran, let me just connect it to every day, even if it's just reciting one verse, but I'm going to pick up the Holy Quran every single day and I'm going to recite one verse. Now that is doable for everyone, no matter how busy you are in your life. One verse does not take that long, unless it's obviously the really long verse in Surah Baqarah, but generally one verse doesn't take that long. Okay, so if I say to myself, okay, you know what, I am committing that I'm going to recite the Holy Quran every single day, and not from my phone, but from the Holy Book itself, because there is a huge benefit in actually touching the words of Allah with wuzu, obviously, looking at the words of Allah in front of you rather than on your phone, and actually reciting these words. Okay, and if I don't do it, then I'm not going to go to sleep before I've done it. So when I'm going to bed, when I'm really, really tired, I need to sort of have it near my bed, something like, have you recited your Quran? So that I remind myself. Then I don't go to sleep till I've recited that one verse at least. Okay, and hopefully this will encourage me to recite more, so I'm not just sticking to the one verse, I can recite more, but that's the minimum I'm going to do. Okay, and looking at what resource will I need. Obviously I'll need the Holy Quran near at hand, and things like that. Okay, motivation. Okay, in order to move from the intention to action, I need motivation. Okay, what will motivate me? And again, this is looking at the dissatisfaction and the vision. As I said, if I'm dissatisfied with my relationship with the Quran, and I can actually visualize what my relationship should be, how I would feel if I got this vision, if this vision was to come true, how I would feel, then that's what's going to motivate me. Okay, that's what's going to move me from the actual intention to action. Okay. Also, working on my mindset is really, really important. Okay. We need to feel and appreciate the value of the contentment we felt in this holy month. Okay. everything just seems so much better in this month. You know, we feel so much more connected, we feel so much more contented, and this is because of our connection to Allah. And again, the Holy Quran allows us to connect to Allah. Okay, so we need to make sure we connect to Allah in whichever way we can, but throughout the year, not just in this month. I need to recognize that I'm the soul, not the body. That's really, really important. Okay, we spend so much time looking after our bodies. You know, we'll read so much about healthy eating. We'll make sure we exercise. We'll do all of this. We'll make sure we, you know, have our 5 fruits and vegetables a day. We'll make sure we're drinking this much water, getting this much sleep. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. Of course, we should do that. It's important to take care of our bodies because that's the vehicle that allows us, the soul, to move around in this physical realm. But it shouldn't be the all. It shouldn't be the thing that I'm focusing on above everything else. Okay, I need to realize that my soul is who I am. When I die, my soul will come out of my body and my body will be left in the grave and it will disintegrate. My soul will move on into the next realm. Okay, it will move on to Barzakh and then on to the Day of Judgment. So my body is, my soul is the thing that is continuing. Okay, if God forbid I was in an accident and I lost my arms or my legs, I would still be Matsuma. If I was disfigured and I had to have plastic surgery and I looked totally different, I would still be Matsuma. So it shows that my body, the way I look, is not who I am. It is my soul that is who I am. The minute my soul leaves my body, then I am no longer Matsuma. Matsuma is dead now. That body is gone. That's not who I am. Yeah. So it's important to recognize that I'm the soul. Knowing that this holy month was a training ground. Okay. So in this month, I was not in any danger because Shaitan was taken away. So it's literally like, when I say training ground, imagine it like a firefighter. Say if you want to become a firefighter, okay? When you enroll to become a firefighter, they're not going to just put you into a burning building and say, okay, you know, start fighting the fire. Here's the hose, start, because you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so they're going to go through it. They're going to explain to you how to do it. They're going to teach you everything, and then they're going to put you into a sort of stimulant thing where you sort of, you know, it's a sort of a false sort of building which looks like it's on fire, but it's really not on fire, and you know, it sort of teaches you how to manage yourself and how to manage the situation and everything. When you are ready, when you graduate, then you go into you know, a burning building to put out the fire. Okay, in the same way, this month Allah has taken Shaitan away. He's tried to teach us everything. He's tried to sort of say, you're not in any danger. Everything that I do wrong is on me. So if I still am continuing to do wrong things, then know that this is not Shaitan whispering to me. This is me myself. I've actually become this person who does these things. Okay, so that's a huge reflection. Okay, God has guided us whenever we've needed in this month, and He guides us whenever we need it throughout the year, but we're not connected to it. God is always there. He doesn't move. He doesn't move away from us. He's a constant. We move closer and further away from Him. We take His guidance. We decide not to take His guidance. That's us. We're the ones who are constantly moving. Okay. There are certain objectives that need to be met in this month. Okay. So from the fasting, I need to get taqwa. Okay. Allah says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That's important. I need to get the taqwa. From my Ramadan, I need to get thankfulness. So when Allah mentions my Ramadan, I think 2 verses after. So I think where He talks about the fasting, it's in Surah Baqarah, verse 183, if I'm not mistaken. And then He goes into the month a little bit more detail. But then I think the second or the third verse after that, He talks about my Ramadan. In fact, the second verse after so it must be about 185, I think, where He mentions my Ramadan, and He says the whole idea of my Ramadan is la'allakum tashkurun, so that they are able, so that hopefully, maybe, inshallah, if we do it correctly, then we can be thankful, because we cannot be thankful if we haven't done it correctly, because we won't have gained anything from it. So what are we going to be thankful for? You know, if we're one of these people who've been sitting there just fasting because, you know what, I have no choice but to fast. I'm doing it very resentfully. I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm counting the days for it to finish. When it finishes, the only thing I'm going to be thankful for, the only thing that I'm actually celebrating is that my Ramadan is over. And that's really sad. Whereas if I actually notice what I'm getting in this month, okay, the fact that there is so much blessing, there is so much barakah, there is, you know, there every part of everything that I do is an ibadah. My sleep is an ibadah. My breathing is an ibadah. You know, it is so much more easier to connect to Allah in this month. There is, you know, my soul is growing to its potential. There is so much value in this month. I become a much more amazing person because of my connection to Allah in this month. Why would I not want to continue it? Then if I've done it like that, then not only will I get taqwa, which is my connection to Allah, which is my God awareness, but I will also be thankful for the right things. I'll be thankful for being given the opportunity to have experienced another month of Ramadan, to have, inshallah, been forgiven all my sins in this month, inshallah, to have been given so much more blessings and barakah, which then will make me grow to my potential and move me forward in my life, inshallah. Okay, so practical tips, and while I'm working on my mindset, okay? So the mindset is something that I'm constantly working on, but I need to be practically doing things as well at the same time. So Fajr Salah needs not to be made qada. Okay, that is really, really important. So for those of you who are up to now have not been so, not taking Fajr Salah as so important, really need to. It's really, really important. In fact, there's a hadith which talks about the fact that Allah will raise the people who made their Fajr Salah qada on purpose with those who killed his prophets. That's huge. Yeah, so it's really important. I know it's difficult sometimes to wake up when you're in deep sleep, but you know what? If we can understand the benefit of it, how much it has an effect on my soul, then that would motivate me, that will push me. Okay, so it's really important to do that. In just the same way, when we exercise, it's really difficult, but we push ourselves. When we have exams and we need to revise, it's really difficult, but we push ourselves because we see the value in pushing ourselves. And in the same way, we need to do this. Salah on time. Try to recite the Salah on time. If you want to build your spirituality, this is important. It's telling God that He is the most important thing in our life. It's focusing ourselves on God and not on this life. The problem is we get carried away with life. So if we make sure that Salah is important, then we in our subconscious we've made Allah important, which is really, really important. The recitation of Quran is really, really important. Du'as. Remember, Quran is Allah talking to us. Dua is us talking to Allah. And again, when we look at these verses in the Holy Quran in Surah Baqarah, when Allah finishes talking about my Ramadan, the first thing, the very next verse talks about dua, and it's beautiful how He says, I can't remember the word perfect, but it talks about how He says when they ask you about me, so He's talking to the Holy Prophet, and He says, when they ask you about me, I am near. Now, generally, when you say to someone, when they ask you about me, tell them I'm near. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say tell them I'm near. He is so close to us. He's closer to us than our jugular vein. He's so close to us that He even takes the Holy Prophet out of the equation. He says, when they ask you about me, then He answers us directly. I am near. He doesn't say, tell them I'm near. He says, I am near, showing us how close He is to us. Yeah. So we need to be constantly talking to Him. Dua is just talking to Allah, praising Him, asking Him for our needs, because know that we cannot achieve anything without Him. Staying up in the night. Again, staying up in the night. Night is where the spiritual movement happens. If I'm serious about my spiritual movement, I need to stay up in the night at least a little bit, even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, a little bit more than I'm doing now. Okay. And as I said, if we had the willpower to stay away from, we need to have the willpower. If we stay away from haram and make sure that I'm doing my wajibat, being more conscious of Allah. This is the whole concept of taqwa, and coming out of my comfort zone. Actually using any opportunity that I can to come out of my comfort zone, because that's where the growth is. And that is me finished. 6 minutes ahead of time, alhamdulillah.
Jazakumullah khaira jaza, Dr. Masuma Jafar. I mean, thank you so much for your reflections, and also, I mean, the practical tips really in relation to how we can make sure that we keep the spirit of Ramadan going. I believe I know there will be, questions, in that regard. And I hope you'll be able to stay around to answer some of those questions, inshallah. But before we come to the questions, let's go quickly to the control room for a brief interlude.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Jamila Salami and I'm here to give you a brief introduction to the One Ummah Recitation campaign that we are inshallah ta'ala launching this Ramadan to raise funds for the reconstruction of the old Kent Road Mosque. I'll be giving you a brief insight into what the campaign is, how it works, and how you can get involved. So first things first, what is the One Ummah Recitation campaign? Well, it's a fundraising challenge that is both based on and inspired by the Quran. As you know, the very first commandment revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Jibreel alayhi salam to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the cave of Hira was Iqra. recite. And the aim of this campaign is to do precisely that. While reciting is typically something that we do individually or as part of a small group, the difference here is that we, as a global community, as an ummah, will inshallah ta'ala be coming together to complete a khatam of the Quran is Ramadan. Remember that I mentioned that this campaign was inspired by the Quran? Well, in determining how we would structure the campaign, we referred to Surah Muzammil, Surah 73 of the Quran, and specifically in Ayah 20, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us on 2 separate occasions to recite what is easy of the Quran. He also instructs us to loan him a goodly loan. As a result, the campaign is structured on a contribution-based model, whereby each participant will contribute a few ayahs towards the recitation of the Quran, i.e. reciting what's easy of it, and in parallel make a contribution towards the masjid, also known as loaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a goodly loan. And the ultimate aim of this campaign is the successful completion of both. So now that you know what the One Ummah Recitation campaign is, let me show you how it works. There are 2 main ways to get involved. You can either recite or you can sponsor a reciter. To recite, the first step is to select a section of the Quran to contribute, and you will do this by filling the I Locate My Ayahs form on the website. Once this is done, you will be given an opportunity to make your donation, submit your recitation, and share the campaign with your friends and your family. Have you thought of the ayahs you'd like to recite? Head over to www.oneummahRecitation.org to allocate your ayahs today, or at least before someone else does. If you want to sponsor a reciter instead, you will need to fill in the sponsorship sheet, where you'll be given an opportunity to select the reciter you'd like to support and decide on how much you'd like to donate. This could be your mom, your son, your brother, your sister, your dad, your friend, a stranger who was quick enough to recite the ayahs you were too late to reserve. You get the point. Just whatever you do, get involved. Even something as simple as a share or a suggestion could make a difference.
Let me explain. It was a British pub bought by a small Nigerian community 30 years ago and made into this masjid, but being 100 years old means that we need to carry out repair works before this masjid develops major issues. We are looking to change it from 2 stories to 6. This will allow us to increase the capacity of worshippers, inshallah. Now for the second thing on that board, the long list. We have a very long waiting list for madrasa and we can't take in more students. Expanding this masjid will allow us to do so and much more. We have children learning to be huffaz, along with our lessons on hadith studies, Quran and Arabic. So this story started 27 years ago when this was a pub, and now you could be part of this journey. We urgently need help to start the renovation and construction before it's too late. The building of a mosque is a continuous charity for a person even after they pass away, as the project's good work continues. We only need 8,000 people to give £100 or $120. We'll be able to commence the initial phase of the redevelopment and benefit the community. So please share this video, click the button and donate now. Jazakallah khairan.
You need to mute, sir. You need to mute.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much for those clips. And they remind us that the fundraising is still ongoing for the rebuild of the Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center. We've said it over this program several times that inshallah, by the end of Ramadan, by the end of May, the project will start, the construction will start. And we want to pull the 100-year-old building down and move towards getting the 6-story purpose-built mosque constructed. And we want every one of us to be part of it. Particularly the One Ummah Recitation campaign there. It's a very interesting campaign whereby, you recite the Quran and you also make a donation. While we are calling people to continue donating, perhaps, anyone who wants to register to do the recitation, and also, or even if you want to sponsor somebody to do the registration, you could make your interest known today, inshallah. And if you want to make a donation, the different platforms, PayPal, My Giving Hub, and also the Muslim Association of Nigeria accounts being displayed there. So we call on people to continue donating. So we don't know whether there are people who are prepared to start with the donations tonight. Inshallah, we have only 2 days more to go for Ramadan. And I think these are very good days to spend to do, in fact, fi sabilillah. And also, you could sponsor people to do the recitation. They say, ad-dalu al khair kafa'il. He who points a person to do good, sponsor somebody to do a good deed, you also get a reward, as they also will get a reward. So the campaign for donations is still ongoing. We hope people will continue donating. Meanwhile, inshallah, I hope we have some questions for Dr. Masuma Jafar. Control room, any questions now? Control room? Are there any questions?
Can you hear me? My network is very bad. Can you hear me,
Okay, I can hear you. Yes, I can.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let's
take some few
questions. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there are questions.
Let's take a few of the questions.
Okay, yeah. So the first question is... Okay, sir. Thank you. The first question is, okay.
I think you have issues with your connection.
Yeah, I think I have a connection problem. So maybe Prof will take the questions. It's just breaking off.
Okay, let's see. The first question says, I want to observe 6 days of fasting in Shawwal. This one way of keeping the spirit ongoing. Do I need to repay the days I missed in Ramadan due to my period first before I can fast the 6 days of Shawwal? Dr. Jaffer?
The ruling is, and again, different madhabs may have different rulings, but my understanding is when it comes to this, I think all the madhabs agree that you cannot keep a mustahab fast when you have a qadha fast on you. So because you've missed the fasts of the month of Ramadan because of the period, then you have to give those qadha back before you can give mustahab fast. But because God is so loving and merciful, you can do it after the days of Eid, with the niyyah that you wanted to keep a mustahab fast, but because you have qadha on you, you're doing it. So inshallah, Allah will reward you for the fact that you wanted to but keep the mustahab, but you couldn't because you have qadha, not because you didn't fast, but not because you didn't want to fast, but because God had told you not to.
Jazakumullah khair jaza, Dr. Masuma. As you rightly mentioned, there are differences of opinion on this. The Shawwal fast is in the month of Shawwal, and it's a whole month. If you just missed your period, you could do both in Shawwal, actually. You can, after Eid, the only time you are discouraged to fast is the Eid day. So after the Eid day, you can quickly do your missed fast, and then you'll still be in Shawwal to do the 6 days of Shawwal, but if for any reason you are not able to do that, particularly the Hanafi and the Hanbali schools, they actually say there's nothing wrong with doing the Shawwal first and then doing the Qadha. It's the Maliki and the Shafi'i schools who, there's some sort of makruh in it saying that, you can't do it. You can do it, but it's not encouraged. So if it's missing your period, I think as Dr. Masuma said, you can do both in Shawwal, and I hope Allah makes it easy for you to do.
Can I just mention here, I think this is really, really important for women who are on their periods and they miss, the holy month of fasting because of their period. It gets really depressing because you feel like I want to fast, but I can't. In the same way when you can't pray Salah and you really, really want to pray Salah. Just remember that it's not about the action, but about the obedience to Allah. And Allah is telling you not to do it. And it's about being obedient to Him. That is where the reward is. That is, and the more difficult you're finding it, the more He will reward you, inshallah. Yeah.
Jazakumullahu khair jaza. There's another question regarding performing ablution with doing mashul khuf, wiping over the socks. The question is it applicable to certain type of socks? So Dr. Masuma.
in my madhab, you can't do it over socks, so I'll refrain from answering the question and I'll leave it to you to answer if that's okay.
Well, Jazakumullah khair. I mean, I know that in your mazhab, and also the Hanafis actually will also tell you that. I mean, and the Malikis actually also indicate. I mean, if you the mazhab Maliki also indicates that you can do it over the socks, but the socks must be so thick that you walk a certain distance and there will be no holes in it and things like that. But I mean, for convenience, many contemporary jurists indicates today that you can wipe over the socks, especially in the UK, if it's, I mean, or you live in cold weather, and for convenience, you can wipe over socks. But if you want to stick to the mazhab, most of the mazhabs, I mean, will tell you that particularly the Maliki, that it has to be take up to a certain level. I know some, I mean, brothers, in order to fulfill that, you find people, and many people actually do that especially in winter time. You find people wearing double socks, 2 socks. So that's in that perspective. There's another question. Can you please provide, okay, sorry. Please, can zakat be paid towards a project that is mosque rebuild, or must this go to zakat account directly? So zakat regarding, can zakat be paid for rebuild of mosques? Dr. Masuma?
Well, again, I think with the fiqh questions, you have to check what your scholars say and the madhab, what madhab you're following. But in the Holy Quran, the verse does say specifically what zakat can be given to. So looking at that and then looking forward into what your scholars say, I think it's important.
Yeah, Alhaja Bilkis Gbedemuke has donated £60 towards the new mosque for her new age today. Yeah, I mean, those who argue that, I mean, the zakat can be paid towards the mosque, particularly in the West. There's European Fatwa Council fatwa on it in relation to the fact that, I mean, mosques are considered to be part of fi sabilillah. Now, you find out that, I mean, the 8 categories, one of the categories is fi sabilillah. In the UK, governments don't build mosques. Now, for example, I mean, you find the Fatwa Council, for example, in the Arab world, where there are other ways by which mosques are built. I mean, the scholars will say that, well, I mean, fi sabilillah there means going for jihad and things like that. But building mosques in the West is a jihad in itself. So based on that Fatwa Council, I mean, many scholars in the West says that zakat can go towards building mosques. Now, it depends on circumstances. For example, I mean, I think yesterday or so, if you watched the fundraising for Gaza, for the building of the hospital and things like that, you find out that because of the situation, they got a fatwa indicating that, well, I mean, zakat can go into that as well, and they will direct it towards those who are poor, who cannot afford medical expenses, and who come to the hospital. So it depends on different circumstances, I mean, in relation to this issue. For Europe, zakat is accepted for building mosques. Okay.
Prof, yes. There is a question that was sent directly. Let me see if I can read it. It says, I learned that the mind is not static, same as our level of faith may not be constantly high. My question is, would having this in mind not make me complacent in my faith?
Well, I mean, that relates to some of the issues touched by Dr. Masuma in relation to the mind and perhaps maybe the soul. The question is, I mean, they understand that this is not static because even levels of faith fluctuates. So, well, if one has this type of mindset, what impact can that have on perhaps maybe keeping the spirit of Ramadan going?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch the question. I'm so sorry.
Rashida, can you repeat the question again? My understanding of it was that, I mean, if one has a perception, yes.
I'll read it again. It says, I learned that the mind is not static, same as our level of faith may not be constantly high. My question is, would having this in my mind not make me complacent in my faith.
Not having what in the mind would make them
That the mind is not static.
Okay. So the
So
question,
you just agree that, okay, the mind is not static, and that for that reason, maybe that can make the person have the tendency to be complacent with developing their faith.
So like you said, the mind is not static, nor is the faith. But recognizing that, and recognizing that the mind is a tool that we have at our disposal, just like our arms, our limbs, our body, we're in control. Now, the problem is we've forgotten that we're in control of our mind. We've allowed our mind to just literally think about and do whatever they want. And we're not even aware of what we're thinking. When there were studies done on this, the studies actually showed that the thoughts that were going through people's minds are very repetitive and very negative as well. And because we're not aware of it, we just allow these thoughts to just come and go in our minds, and we don't control them. And a lot of the times people will, when they start trying to sort of focus more on the salah and concentrate on the salah, they think that they have to stop thinking so that they can concentrate on the salah. But you can't stop thinking. You can't stop the mind from thinking. What you can do is control the mind. So, for example, if I was to tell you, don't think of a pink elephant jumping on a trampoline, the first thing your mind's going to do is think of a pink elephant jumping on a trampoline. Okay, so it's not about trying to stop the mind, but it's actually trying to control the mind. So actually controlling the mind to think about what we're reciting in the salah, controlling the mind to be present in the moment. Usually the mind will be in the past or in the future. So we'll be thinking about something that someone has said or done and how it's affected me. And I'm going through the whole story and the whole scenario in my mind, or I'm going to be thinking about what ifs. So, what if this happened? What if this happened? And literally I've made a whole movie, which I could actually sell to Disney and make a lot of money on all the what ifs that could have happened. And none of these what ifs may even play out. And I've used so much energy in thinking about the worst case scenarios, and therefore I'm not in the present. What I need to do is be in the present, and the only way I can do that is by controlling my mind. So if I can control my mind, and like the questioner said, that it's not static. So sometimes I will have control, sometimes I won't, sometimes I will be stronger in controlling it, sometimes I won't. But it's about recognizing that I can control my mind and be a lot more positive. So whenever I have a negative thought, change it to a positive thought. Whenever I'm constantly worrying about something, actually stop and say, Ya Allah, I'm leaving it in your hands, because you're the only one who can take care of it. And then just put it aside, forget that worry, because now God has you've handed it over to God. So in that way, then I learn to control my mind, and that way then I'm more present. And if I'm more present, then my connection to Allah will be much greater by being just more mindful and being more present in the moment, inshallah.
Jazakumullahu khairan. I mean, one other way to look at it, I mean, from my understanding, is now, if we say that, well, because faith is not static and the mind is not static, therefore you want to be complete. It's just like justifying, you want to find justification for not really fulfilling your religious obligation. Now, it's similar to say that, well, I mean, you find some ayahs in the Quran indicating that human beings are created weak. We'll be committing sin. You cannot say that, well, you want to justify that, well, if human beings are created weak, then I'm free to commit sin. So, I mean, you cannot just use that as justification. And as Dr. Masuma has indicated, we have to make effort, I mean, to work on our minds and to, do what is right. May Allah make it easy for us. It could be difficult sometimes, but with determination. I mean, I really appreciated one point raised by Dr. Masuma, and a lot of the time, in our daily, career activities, we stretch ourselves, we get out of our comfort zones in order to achieve certain things. But in relation to ibadah as well, I mean, we need to do a little bit more. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. This is what the Quran says. Anybody who does some extra is better for him. This is what the ayahs of Psalm tell us. So we should try to continue striving, and may Allah make it easy for us, inshallah. Thank you. Any further questions?
We had some hand raised.
Oh, hand raised, yes, please.
There is Kausarat Shita. Please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Kausara Shita. No, she's not. And the other person already dropped their hands. So.
Okay, I mean, maybe we do a little bit of more fundraising. I mean, we've got somebody put in 60 pounds there. May Allah put it in your mizan and khair. Alaja Bilkis Bedemuke, 60 pounds towards new mosque for her new age today. جزاكم الله خيرا ربي أعوذينا أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإني من المسلمين. Thank you so much. And may Allah continue to bless you and increase you in long life and prosperity. So, I mean, we need people to really, really continue donating towards this mosque. I mean, the rebuild of this mosque, you know, we said we are going to start by the end of May after Ramadan. And it's important that, I mean, there's enough money in the purse to be able to do this. So please continue donating, and may Allah put it in your mizan al-khair, and may Allah continue to replenish all our pockets.
I'm really sorry. I need to leave. I'm really, really sorry.
Thank you so much. I mean, Dr. Masuma, we really appreciate, I mean, your sharing of your knowledge. May Allah reward you and put it in your mizan al-khair. And inshallah, we hope when we call you next time, you really, I mean, be happy to join us. I mean, normally people will ask for the slides that are used. If you don't mind, if you leave that behind, I mean, when people ask for it, we'll be able to then send it around for them. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Okay, viewers, we have time on our hands, I mean, today. Perhaps, I mean, what I need to do is perhaps maybe call on maybe the deputy imam. The deputy imam can help again with some little bit of fundraising, inshallah. And we see where that takes us. I mean, and if there are any other questions that people want to ask, please feel free to ask the questions, and we will make effort to answer them. Deputy, is deputy there, please?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Prof, I think there were some questions we
oh yes, yeah, you can bring that, you can bring those up. I mean,
yeah.
So let's deputy, we still have time. Deputy, bismillah.
صلوا على نبي مصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. We give thanks to Almighty Allah, we adore His name. We seek benediction upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, and those who follow his footsteps the day of resurrection. Ameen. We see, as our professor said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to preserve his life for us, inshallah. And everybody on platform, we need to galvanize our efforts in order to pay towards the rebuilding of our new mosque. We have fixed the time of demolition, and we aim at vacating the existing mosque at the end of the month. So how can we make this to happen? We can make this to happen by really contribute towards the rebuilding of the mosque. So I'm calling upon all our mothers, our fathers, sisters, and brothers on platform, and throughout the world where they can hear me at the moment. Please kindly donate towards the rebuilding of the old Control Mosque. To start with, I support Alaja Bilkis, Queen of Gweremuke's house, with 50 pounds. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Yes. Allahu Akbar. That's how it should be. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. So Deputy Imam has supported the Queen of his household with 50 pounds in relation to adding 1 year to age today. And we pray that Allah will put it in your mizan wa khair and also reward you for that. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. No, you've set, I mean, a good example. Let's hope, I mean, other friends of Alhaja Bilkis and other well-wishers will want to rally around in that perspective. Jazakumullah khaira jaza. Now, I mean, some of the questions that we didn't.
I support Alhaja Gbedemke with £20.
MashaAllah. You see, the scholars are now the one who are now spending now. Our Imam also has, I mean, supported Alhaja Gbedemke, and that's how it should be, with £20. Imam, Jazakumullah khaira jaza. May Allah put it in your mizan al-khair, and may Allah bless every one of us, inshallah ta'ala. We have
Andres, sir.
Okay, bismillah.
Ajia animation, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm supporting Alhaja Gbedemke today for her birthday, being her birthday. She's my lovely sister, and we were born in the same month.
Oh, tell me.
So yes. Mine is still coming.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in support of
That's noted.
Yes. So I'll put something in the bank account.
Inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah reward you, and may Allah put it in your mizan al-khair, inshallah. Control room, somebody is asking for the link to the One Ummah recitation, as can't locate the correct site. So if you can put that.
I'll just request the secretary, if he's on, to put it, because I think there was an error in the previous one.
Okay.
And the secretary should have the correct one.
Inshallah.
Please, secretary, if you are there, do help put it in the chat, please.
Yeah.
So we have more hand raised, sir.
Okay, Fadal. Go on.
Okay, so Alhaja additional, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Prof.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Adúpẹ́ fún àwọn ìyàwó lè mọ́mú wa, àwọn ẹlẹ́hà. Èmi náà support you, torí a gbọ́dọ̀ support àwọn ẹlẹ́hà ni. Ká lè ríṣẹ́ lè mọ́mú dáadáa. Mo support birthday wọn. Èmi náà fowó sínú àkáǹtì. Màá ṣe bí ti àmì ò gbọ́dọ̀ kọjá ara mi. Mo wà lẹ́yìn bàbá lè mọ́mú. Màá fi sínú àkáǹtì.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alhaja Ajadi, èmi náà support ọmọ mi, àbúrò mi o, ìyàwó Gbedemke. K'Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó ṣọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún.
Àmín. Alhaja Ishonga, jazakumullahu khair. Ọlọ́run á fi sínú mizan al-khair fún yín.
Aja Sariat
Adedura.
Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Èmi náà support Ajia Gbedemke ọmọ mi dáadáa.
Yes.
Mo support aṣọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún.
Àmín.
Dọ́là ni mo fẹ́ san o. Mi mọ bí n ṣe máa ṣe o.
Well,
$200.
Okay, mashallah, jazakumullah khaira jaza. Ẹgbẹ́ fi sí dollar account nìyẹn. There's the dollar account.
Ṣé yẹn wà ń bí báyìí?
Àwọn tó wà ní treasury secretariat.
Mo ti fóònù kíní pàápàá. Mi ìdẹ̀gbọ́n kó pè mí padà.
Wọ́n á get back sí, inshallah.
Treasurer get back to.
Treasurer get back sí lórí ẹ̀.
So $200.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza.
$100 mo fi support Gbedemke.
Thank you.
$100 tó kù kíyẹn náà lọ sínú àpò ilé. Ọlọ́run bá wa kọ́.
Àmín Allah. Ọlọ́run á sún lẹ́san rẹ̀.
Ọdún láyé.
Àmín. Jazakumullah khairan jaza.
Jinadu, please.
Wa alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi Alhaja.
Professor.
Naam.
Ajia ńkọ́.
Adúpẹ́ mà.
Mo support Alhaja Gbedemke o. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kó ṣọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún.
Àmín Allah. Amen. Alhaja Jinadu should also put money in the account. Ṣé rí pé Alhaja Gbedemke ṣé rí pé ní àwọn supporters gan báyìí. Line yẹn ti ń gùn gan. Go on, please. Control room.
Asuramu, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Mo support sister mi Alhaja Balkis olórúkọ mi Gbẹdẹmukẹ fún ọjọ́ ìbí Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kó ṣe púpọ̀ ọdún láyé. Mi náà fi £20 ní àkáǹtì.
Mashallah. Allah dúpẹ́ fún yín. Allah fi sun mizanu khairin. There's somebody else, Alhaja Mufida Adeyemi, have also supported, and they will put money in the account as well. Jazakumullahu khair. Oh yeah, Nisho.
President Letu.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Èmi náà support Queen Balkis Gbẹdẹmukẹ pẹ̀lú £20, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakumullahu khair jaza. May Allah put it in your mizan and khair. May Allah reward you.
Rose Hassan. Rose Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullah.
Èmi náà support Alhaja Gbẹdẹmukẹ àti mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ dùà fún ọmọ mi Abdulateef Hassan, òun náà pé 30 years of age.
Mashallah.
Àfowósí account ẹ ṣeun.
Jazakumullahu khair jaza. So Imam eba radio ẹ má bá fi nǹkan lé gbogbo ẹ̀ ńgbà tó bá ṣe tán Imam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, wa alaikum assalam. Mama.
Èmi náà support Alhaja Gbẹdẹmukẹ aṣọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún láyé o. Inú àlàáfíà o. Tọmọtọmọ àtọkọ. Èmi náà fowósí account o.
Jazakumullahu khair jaza.
Alayaki, please.
Alaikum assalam alhamdulillah.
Support Alhaja Gbẹdẹmukẹ o aṣọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún láyé o. Èmi náà fowósí.
Amin. Jazakumullahu khair jaza.
Alhaja Muslima Adenia, £30 to account. Mama, she go. She has paid already. Assalamu alaikum.
Sharifa. Somebody is showing us Sharifa, please. Or mute yourself. Sharifa, please. Okay.
Alhaja Fashola Akitoye also has said she will support and put money in the account. May Allah reward you and put it to your mizan al-khair.
Prof, we have some questions that just came in.
Okay.
We have one question. It says, can the wudu still remain okay if socks taken off before the expiry time of allocated because one feels uncomfortable?
Well, as long as you put, you have to put the socks on while you are in the state of wudu. Now, as long as your wudu, your wudu has not broken, you're still intact. As long as your wudu has not broken, it's still intact. But if your wudu breaks, you have to do another wudu. I hope that answers the question.
Alhaja MB Elias, please unmute yourself, ma.
I've done that. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Mo support Alhaja Gbẹdẹmukẹ o, many happy returns of the day o.
Àmín Allah.
Màá fowó sínú àkáǹtì o.
Inshallah, Allah fi sínú mizan al-khair. Allah aṣàgbà láǹfààní o.
Àmín.
Inshallah, jazakumullah.
Somebody Lenovo tab E10, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Mo support Queen Gbẹdẹmukẹ o. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ ó ṣọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún láyé, mi àgún alálàáfíà o.
Àmín Allah. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Ọlọ́run á san yín lẹ́san rẹ̀.
Inshallah.
Galaxy A2 Core, unmute yourself. Galaxy A2 Core.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Alhaja Adigun ló ń sọ̀rọ̀.
Mashallah.
A fẹ́ kí Alhaja Gbẹdẹmukẹ fún ọjọ́ ìbí wọn lénìí. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kán ṣọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún láyé o.
Àmín Allah.
Ọlọ́run á dá àwọn ọmọ wọn sí o, wọ́n á jèrè àwọn ọmọ wọn, àwọn àtọkọ wọn náà àárín wọn ò ní dàrú o.
Àmín.
Àárín wọn àtọlọ́run náà ò dẹ̀ ní dàrú o.
Àmín.
A máa rí wọn láyọ̀ àtàlàfíà o. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That's about it, except if we'll take questions, sir.
Okay. Mikhail Alhaji Aremu also put in £20. Mo fẹ́ sọ náà ni pé ṣé Alhaji Imam Deputy Imam Gbẹdẹmukẹ wà lọ́rẹ̀ tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. ẹ wo àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ Alhaja Gbedemuke bọ́n ṣe tò tán àmì àtàwọn màmá gbogbo wọn. So let's see how many friends Deputy Imam Gbedemuke also has.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Very best wishes to Alhaja Gbedemuke.
Jazakumullahu khairan.
Ọlọ́run àdó tí wọ́n náà torí wọn. Àárín wọn pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ o. Alhaja Gbedemuke náà, God bless him for all the effort he's been making. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continuously bless them. Amen. I'll do something in the account.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
JS Animations. Unmute yourself.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Mo fẹ́ support Alhaja Gbedemuke torí Alhaji Deputy Imam. Salamu alaikum. Èmi náà fowó sí àkáǹtì.
Jazakumullahu khairan jaza.
It's not my style.
Ẹ ṣeun, barakallahu fi Ọlọ́run àsan gbọ́ alẹ́ sàn rí. Àfi yọ̀ sọ́lọ́run lọ́rùn náà nínú gbogbo ẹnu mọ́ṣáláṣí ló ń lọ.
I like to be quiet.
Yes, but I mean, I believe, Deputy Imam Gbedemuke will be very, very happy to see all his friends also lining up to support him. I believe that. I'll be back, Deputy Imam. Inshallah. We're not noticing. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Maybe the secretariat, there's a question for the secretariat here. Please, when will we be able to make the Qarat Hassan? Somebody is asking that question. President is around, maybe you want to take that.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Yeah, we already sent out notification. Sorry, I'm on the road, that's why I cannot my camera yet. But we've sent out a notice to members and the mosque users. Inshallah, we are working on perfecting the documents and look at the cash flow and what have you. So as soon as we are ready, we are good to go. We'll make it public, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala. So that's the answer for that. I mean, the secretariat will keep you updated, bismillah, after all necessary steps have been taken. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza.
Alhaja Ololade and the Mama Guru are spared to the account to support Alhaja Queen Bilqis.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhaja Gundade, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Èmi náà support Alhaja Gbedemuke o, k'Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kán ṣọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún láyé o. K'Ọlọ́run fún ọlẹ́mìí gbogbo àtàláfíà ara láti ṣe ìyá fáwọn ọmọ pẹ́ o. Màá fi £20 sínú account.
Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Thank you so much. Gbogbo wa Ọlọ́run á san gbogbo alẹ́ san dáadáa. Gbogbo ohun tá à ń ṣe àfihàn rajà rẹ̀ ní lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run bá dẹ̀ san gbogbo alẹ́ san láyé àti ní àlìkìyámà. So Alhaja Gbedemuke, àwa fún imam ní ààyè ń ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bá ṣe sọ kí wọ́n bá fi nǹkan lé gbogbo àdúrà tí àwọn èèyàn ṣe àti ìnáwó tí wọ́n ná. Imam, bismillah.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo wa jọ panupọ̀ ká wish Alhaja Bilqis Gbedemuke ká recite Rabbi Awzini pẹ̀lú mi pé kí Ọlọ́run dákun mọ́sà jẹ́ mi wọn ogun, Ọlọ́run dákun mọ́sà wo ọmọ fún wọn, dákun Ọlọ́run àárín òun àti ọkọ ẹ̀ Ọlọ́run dákun mọ́ dàárín wọn rú. Allah bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi Awzini an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya wa ana amala salihan tardahu وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإني من المسلمين. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí ẹ fi àlàáfíà ẹ̀mí gígùn kẹ́ fi lólé ayé yín Ọlọ́run Muhammad la hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Àwọn àṣeyìn náà àtẹ́yìn náà kan fún fámìlì yín, àwọn gan pàápàá àṣeyìn náà àtẹ́yìn náà fúnra wa kọ́lọ́run ọba aláàánú jùlọ àtẹ́ntọ́ wà on the platform àtẹ́ntí ò sí ń bẹ̀ tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ yín kọ́lọ́run dákun mẹ́sà.
Àmín Allah.
Kọ́lọ́run dákun gbà àdúrà àti ẹ̀ náà. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthara fasalli li rabbika wanhar إن شانئك هو الأبتر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانهر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. يا أيها الذين كلها إن الله خبير بما تعملون. أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة. أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المؤمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. جزاكم الله خير.
جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. Eshongani. Now I think we have to look at the OU who believe for this week. The OU who believe for this week will be from Quran chapter 8, verse 20. Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa rasulahu wa la tawallaw anhu wa antum tasma'un. This relates to the topic we had today. Allah says, O you who believe, obey Allah and his messenger and don't turn away from them as you continue to hear the injunctions of Allah. So as we have all done well in this Ramadan, after Ramadan, we'll continue to still hear the injunctions of Allah. The ayah reminds us not to turn away from the good things that we have been doing. May Allah make it easy for us. Quran chapter 8, verse 20. We can have a look at that in our own spare time, inshallah. Once again, we have already thanked our speaker for today, and we still thank her. And all those who have donated today, may Allah reward you abundantly. And we pray that Allah spare our lives for us to see the end of Ramadan in the next 2 days, and also to have a very joyful and blissful Eid. And with that, inshallah, I want to hand over to Alaja Fadila Adeshina to sign us off on time today. Bismillah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone. I'd like to say a very big thank you to our distinguished speaker today, Dr. Mazuma. Even though she has gone, we still have to thank her in absentia. We thank her for sharing her knowledge with us, and to everyone that has contributed to and supported my dear sister, Sister Bilqis Gbedemuke. I pray that Allah reward all of you and accept it as act of ibadah from you.
Amen.
I also want to wish my sister a very happy birthday today, and I pray that you celebrate so many more years in good health and increase iman, inshallah. So until we see again tomorrow, I say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My parents chose to name me Orchid Road Islamic and Cultural Center as a baby, and when the time came for me to start my family, my daughter was also named at this masjid.
Same as my story, I was also born and named there. I attended Marrakesh and used to play football after classes with my mates.
The Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center, MAN UK, is a community where all Muslims enjoy the bond of brotherhood and the sweetness of sisterhood.
Orchid Road Masjid has played an important role in my spiritual and social development and that of my young family.
It is a home, a place of solace for everyone, especially the Muslims of African descent living in London, United Kingdom.
This is a heritage we treasure and must preserve for the next generation. We need you to make this dream come true.
Kindly donate and encourage your family, friends, and loved ones to contribute towards the rebuilding of our mosque.
May Allah bless and reward you abundantly. Allahumma amin.
Please help build our mosque.
Do you know where this hat originates from? You probably guessed it right, Nigeria. This is one of the oldest Nigerian Muslim communities in London. This masjid was a nightclub, then a pub, and subhanallah, now it is a masjid. You probably would have only seen hats like this during Jummah a few years ago, but as time has passed, we now have so many different styles of hats because our community has grown to become so diverse. But the masjid has also grown 100 years in age. This means the structure of the building needs repair work, and if we don't work on it now, it will end up costing us a lot more. We need to increase our capacity from 2 floors to 6 to accommodate all of the extra worshippers and to take in all of the extra kids on the waiting list to become Hufadh. As of right now, we just don't have the capacity. Supporting this masjid will mean that you allow us to keep on carrying out our salawat, our Quran lessons, madrasa, nikahs, janaza, and so much more.
We were really a spark, and then we took what we had at that time, as I've said, with the encouragement from the Pakistani community and the Bangladeshi community, with their commitment to work of dawah, we started from our own Nigerian Muslim community as well.
So we ask you, from the bottom of our hearts, from the Old Kent Road Mosque in South London, please help us fix and build our masjid. We are looking for 8,000 people to give just £100, roughly $120, and we can start the development work immediately, inshallah. Please, please, please click on the link or the button and donate now. Jazakumullah khairan.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان